Are you competing with her past? The truth about dating older women, most men are afraid to say. Now, let me get this straight. This is not an attack on all older women. Now, when we say older women, that term is relative. If I'm 20 years old, a woman who's 35 is an older woman. A woman who's 30 is an older woman. I'm going to be 63 soon. What is an older woman to me? I mean, I'm thinking as a man. I'm married, I'm off the market, but I'm going to speak and channel certain conversations that I recently had with some brothers who are in my age group. But let's be clear on this. This is not an attack on all women who get to a certain age, because all women who get to a certain age are not all the same. I'm not saying this to be politically correct, but I have to talk about this particular category, this particular slice. I don't know if it's 20%. I don't know if it's 2%. I don't know if it's 80%. I don't know if everything I say pertains to everybody in that category, but it must be spoken on. And a lot of men are afraid to share these things. So let's drop the pleasantries. This is not a soft conversation. It's not polite, and it's not meant to protect feelings. It's meant to bring clarity, because clarity builds strong men, but comfort really does. Most people avoid uncomfortable truths because they disturb the image we want to protect. But if you're a man in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, you already know that life does not reward denial. It rewards awareness. Today, we're talking about what really happens when men date older women emotionally, psychologically, and biologically. Not from hate, not from bitterness, from observation, from lived patterns, from consequences. Again, I'm going to say it one last time, and I don't want to see anybody in the comments section saying I'm attacking older women or I'm bitter. No, this is a particular slice. Every relationship carries history, but not all history weighs the same. Some experiences sharpen you, others harden you. And there's a difference between wisdom and emotional scar tissue. The issue is not that someone has a past. We all do. The issue is what was done with it. Was it processed, or was it buried? Was it healed, or was it armored? As many women move through their 30s and into their 40s, something subtle happens. Instead of resolving emotional damage, they adapt around it. They do not heal, they protect. Each failed relationship becomes another brick in a wall. Each betrayal becomes another lock. Each disappointment becomes another rule you did not help create, but will be expected to obey. When you enter the picture, you're not meeting openness. You're meeting suspicion. You're not being given the benefit of the doubt. You're being tested for crimes you did not even commit. This is why many men say dating older women feels heavy. Not because of age, but because of atmosphere. I'm being very clear on this. It feels like walking into a sealed bunker instead of a room with open windows. Unresolved pain does not disappear. It changes form. It becomes hyper alertness. It becomes emotional audits. It becomes scanning for danger even when none exists. Most men believe something simple. If I show up right, I'll be judged by my actions. That belief alone sets you up for confusion. You're not always being seen as an individual. You're being filtered through a backlog of past experiences. Every silence is compared to someone else's silence. Every boundary is interpreted through someone else's betrayal. You can be calm, and it's read as withdrawal. You can be steady, and it's read as boring. You can ask for space, and it is read as rejection. Over time, you start adjusting. You over-explain. You over-reassure. You soften your standards. This is how men slowly lose leverage. Not through weakness, but through overcompensation. A relationship stops feeling like a partnership and starts feeling like a performance. And performance is exhausting. You will often hear, "I have healed. I have done the work. I have been in therapy for years." It sounds mature. It sounds safe. But understanding a wound is not the same as closing it. Modern culture has turned healing into vocabulary. People can name every trigger, but still react from the same fear. Real healing reduces reactivity. It brings calm. It brings ease. If someone is truly healed, you feel peace around them. You do not feel evaluated. Pain with better language is still pain. Insight without change is still instability. Many men eventually sense something they cannot explain. It feels like a presence that's not visible. That presence is memory. You may be consistent, but consistency feels flat. You may be reliable, but reliability does not create emotional spikes. You are competing with nostalgia. Memory edits out the chaos and preserves intensity. So you're not being compared to reality. You're being compared to fantasy. You cannot outperform a fantasy. And when you feel like something is always slightly out of reach, it is often because you are building in the shadow of unresolved attachment. No man should invest his future competing with a memory. Men and women do not age the same in the dating market. For men, attraction is often built over time. Skills, discipline, status, strength, and resources compound. A man who invested in himself in his 20s and 30s often becomes more attractive in his 40s. His value increases if he did the work. For women, attraction is more tied to youth and fertility. Time does not negotiate with biology. That is not cruelty. That's reality. As men age well, their leverage can rise. As women age, their options may narrow, especially if commitment was delayed. This creates tension. A man who has built himself does not want to negotiate from guilt. He wants desire, not urgency. Choice, not pressure. Modern dating begins with presentation. Strategic photos, flattering angles, perfect lighting. None of that is illegal, but it can be misleading. Maintenance is not the same as discipline. Discipline transforms. Maintenance conceals. Disappointment does not come from aging. It comes from misrepresentation. Men respect effort. They respect honesty. They do not respect illusion pretending to be substance. When image and reality do not match, attraction erodes slowly but surely. Integrity between appearance and lifestyle matters. There's one factor no one can negotiate with: time. For men who still want children, legacy is not abstract. It is real. Biology does not operate on hope. It operates on windows. Fertility declines sharply for women after a certain age. Risks increase. Costs increase. Pressure increases. When motherhood is delayed and then rushed, the man often becomes the stabilizer, the solution, sometimes even the last chance. Being chosen out of urgency feels different from being chosen out of desire. A future built on panic is very, very fragile. A man has the right to ask if he's building a shared vision or stepping into someone else's race against time. Dating later in life requires clarity, not hope. You do not owe anyone a rescue mission. You do not owe anyone a sacrifice because they delayed their decisions. You have spent years building your body, your mind, your discipline, and your resources. The question is simple. Does this align with where you're going? Truth is not comfortable, but it is clean. And clean paths lead to strong futures. There are going to be people who may get upset by the way I express these words. Again, over the years, and not even just for social media, but I have had multiple conversations, countless conversations with men at different stages of life, and my observations of situations that were around me near and far. So, some of what was fed into me that I processed but didn't digest until I saw that it was truth, I kept. The other stuff that was spoken out of anger, frustration, or the lack of a man's drive to better himself, I can't get down like that. Again, this is not speaking about all women who are older, but there's a huge category that are like this, and even another category who may have slices of this in them. Again, you can't pay for another man's mistakes and how he treated a woman. It's going to make anybody put their guard up, but some women can't let it go. And it makes it even more difficult to get through that shield, that armor that many of them wear, really to protect themselves. But also, it keeps a good man away. So just like in the illustration that you see, right? This woman has a clipboard. And what's on that clipboard we can't see. But it's a list of things that she has to look out for because of her past experiences. And the brother on the right, he's in shock that he's showing up transparent, willing to have conversation, to learn each other. And of course, they're in her home, so he must have known her for a while. But now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty about what's required in a relationship. And lots of times with women in general, but especially women who have been through things, and when I say older, again, it's relative. And again, I'm gonna say it one last time, I'm not saying this about all women who are older. And older is a relative term, okay? But you've been through things. Unfortunately, you've had things happen to you. And some women in this particular category that we're talking about, I'm making it clear, they can't get over the things that they have gone through, and you have to pay. Yet, they will blame the men that try to approach them that are good men. We're not talking about the shysters now. We're not talking about the ones who want to use you because you have a good retirement or a nice home, money in the bank. We're not talking about the users. We're talking about the good men who have done right by themselves and they have something to offer. They stand on their own 2 feet. That's what you want. But still, some of these women are going to run them through the mill because of what happened to them. In time, the older you get, the faster it moves, okay? So you're not doing yourself a favor. Yes, you protect yourself, but making it impossible, like an obstacle course, you'll chase a good man away. That's just the facts. And I had to speak on it. And like I said, I'm going to speak on all types of topics with human nature, relationships, and life, especially things I've observed and experienced myself. But like I said in the beginning, this was a culmination of many conversations I've had, observances, and experiences for a certain slice of the population of our older sisters, right? This is not everybody. I'm not demonizing women. I love you, sisters. And we all have obstacles. We all have things we have to get over. We should always be, no matter who you are and what the category is, or what the topic is in human nature, every day we should be trying to make ourselves better for ourselves, but that will also make us better for that potential mate that steps into our life. If we sit down and remain bitter and we don't work on ourselves, we're not going to get any better. When time goes by, we actually decline. We actually go in reverse, because that time that you had to make yourself better, you didn't use it to make yourself better. You used it to accuse, to point fingers at everybody else. And there are men like this too, right? So I'm not just picking on the women. That just happens to be the topic that I'm speaking on right now. So don't lose something good potentially. Take your time, heal yourself, open yourself up, because all men that come to you are not bad. There are a lot of shysters, there are a lot of users, there are a lot of scammers out here. I do understand that. On this platform, I've talked about them a lot. And in the future, when the time comes, I'm going to continue to talk about them, right? But we got to be even here. It's not just the fault of one sex. Because we have men who, women ain't no good. Women, no, you see, brother, you can't say that. And you got women, oh, these men out here ain't no good. They just want one thing and they want, see, so how did you come to this conclusion? Either male or female, because of your past experiences. So now you've enclosed yourself in a place where it's hard to relate to anyone because of what was already on you before you met this person. And it's not fair. And you're hurting yourself ultimately. Take your time, go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, get to know a person, be open, ask questions. Each person should be transparent. It's a beautiful thing to come together and to get to know each other. But if you're dragging old emotional baggage with you into the present, it'll never work. I always said that I wanted to draw an illustration where it could be either a man or a woman, right? Let's just say it's a man. Well, in this case, let's just say it's a woman because we're speaking about older women, but it can also be a man. Where there's a woman at your front door that you invited over for dinner, right? Or just to hang out, whatever, nothing intimate, just getting to know you. And she has all of these bags behind her, travel bags, suitcases. And what does that mean? I mean, going all down the block, like 50 or 60 different suitcases. That's the baggage she's carrying, but you don't see it. That could be a man at your door, sisters, and he's carrying baggage that you don't see, that he shrewdly hid from plain view. So we have to vet people, but let's not bring our own baggage when vetting someone new. Yes, you learn from it. You're not just going to open up and let everybody on in, or a person on in. They got to respect what your needs are. And if you don't have your wounds healed, you're not going to see it properly. Then you don't even need to be bothered with anybody. Heal those wounds first. Good people of the opposite sex will always be there. And if you're waiting for that one for you, prepare by healing yourself, truly healing yourself, and not just saying, well, I'm healed, I did the work. You can't fake that. You You have a wound and the stitches in there, you better wait until the wound heals up before you take the stitches out. And still wait a little bit so those little stitch holes close up. Anyway, I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about this one. I wanted to go in with surgical precision. That's my favorite term. If you hear that anywhere else, I didn't make it up, but just say, hey, that's Skir's favorite term, because I love to go places where most people are afraid to go to speak about certain things. And I trust that you know that I don't speak with a venomous heart. But we gotta talk about things. Life is too short. Life is too sweet. Let's heal our wounds, clean it up, distance ourselves from the wounds, but never forget how they happen. But don't think that every man, my sister, is gonna come to hurt you. And if you sense that or see that, reject them and stop them in their tracks. Don't let them use you, but you have a right to live a happy, fulfilling life. That's your right, but it's your responsibility to ensure that it goes that way. I hope these words have stimulated you, made you think. Don't be mad at me because it wasn't spoken in venomous or in hate. I love you. I want to see you do good, and I want to see you be happy, right? I'm on to the next one. Know that I love you all who are trying to make yourselves better. Lance Skirv out. Peace.